I'd like to get some over here. It's going to be just behind me in the closet. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to have a roll call, please. The Secretary of the Association. Oh, first of all, let me introduce our board in case we have a new member of the board from River Bend, and that's Kathleen McKay. And you know Doris Bean from River Terrace. I am Nancy Feenan from River Shores. And I think you're familiar with Mr. Willett from River Shores. And then Mr. Lynch, Richard Lynch, is our new member from River Shores as well. Okay, and I sort of pull a roll, but everybody would just say if you're present, whatever. Present. Okay. Present. Doris Bean, present. Kathleen, present. Nancy Feenan, okay. All present, and we have a quorum. Okay, next order of business is which is notarized, and this gets filed. This gets filed with the minutes of the meeting, so let's put that there. And then we have the minutes of the last meeting, which was just the minutes of the meeting that from the organizational meeting at the time of just after well, it wasn't really an election, it was the time of the annual meeting. And if there are no objections, they'll be filed with the minutes as well. So they'll be filed with the minutes as well. Okay. And
these minutes have to be typed up? You have to type them.
Well, we type them. What do you want? This could to me. I'll take them in.
Oh, okay. So you're good.
We're going to. So the next order of business is, okay, I would like to discuss the work included in the assessment. We're going to limit this discussion when we get to the folks to about 15 minutes. And after we discuss after I go over what's here, and if you have any questions about it, and we could, I'd like it, if you stand up, I'd like you to announce who you are and what unit you own, please.
Yes.
And announce who you are and then your question. Okay? Thank you. There's about $18,000 worth of work, give or take. It's an approximation of work that needs to be done over and above what the budget would include or had in last year. That includes, as you know, the Australian pine hedge is dying, and we have started to replant with ficus outside. And as they die, we would like to take out the dead stuff and replant it with ficus, or ficus, I always say that. Then also, ficus, thank you, thanks Sam. And also, we have cut the hedge on 16th Avenue. That's something that we share for entranceway. And then we need to get some more chaise lounges and chairs for by our pool area. If you notice out there, there are two umbrellas that have gone to the hospital. They should be back shortly. And I'm told one other one. I don't know what's the problem, but they're just being fixed.
It won't open.
Oh, thanks. At any rate, they're at the hospital at the present moment. And then we also need to would like to have, the tennis court has been ordered. I called and left a message, the minister calling back. Last year, we gave them $1,000 as a down payment on the tennis court. It was not able to be finished, completed. It's not, and we don't have, what do you call that? We don't have reserves in this club. Things are done if they're put into the budget. So it was on the budget, not on the reserve. We don't have reserve for last year. It has been, the North Court and Company will be doing it in the beginning of July.
What are they doing?
A new tennis court.
Yes. So they're resurfacing
the whole thing, yes.
What is the price on it, the total?
Yeah, we'd like to know the particulars for the tennis court. No, we don't know what they're doing to the tennis court.
Well, the contract is up in the office.
They're paving.
They're going to totally and completely, just so that you'll know, there are two companies in South Florida that take care of resurfacing, refurbishing, redoing your tennis court. There are two. And the court is one of the two, and they came in with a very good bid, and they told us exactly what they would do. It's all spelled out. If you would like to have a copy of the contract, it's available in the office. and as are all our contracts.
What
And
is the total of the contract?
the contract as stated is $4,000.
I thought we already
Yeah.
paid $1,000.
We paid $1,000,
So why is this
right?
4,500 instead of 3,500?
Because we don't know for sure if it's, I have to speak to the man, it's been a year since they paid the $1,000. I don't know whether it's gone up or whatever. So to allow the fact that it might be increased, we have to allow, and just say.
Is there more than one bid on this item?
There were only 2 companies who do this, Barbara, in South Florida. I spoke with both of them. They came in, they're very well recommended, and they gave us a bid. Their bid was, it was about between $4,500 and $5,000, according to what it is they have to do. We have some issues on that court there, as you know, there are holes in it, there are things that have to be corrected, and I have grave concerns that when they come in and they start to do it, they're going to come and say, well, we also need to do this and this and this to level it off so people won't fall and this and that.
Is
So
that included?
to allow for that,
Are the holes included in the 45?
yes, they're supposed to be able to do everything that was, all the things that were wrong with thoroughly gone over. But, you know, it's been a year, prices go up. We could, you know, so I'm allowing for the fact that we're trying, the board is trying to allow for the fact that they may have increased the prices in some instances. We'd like to get the thing done. Then the gutters and drains, we just last week signed off on this roof. It took them that long to finish, complete it, and get their papers from the, you have to have, you know, an order from the city that provides you with, the people that provide you with permits. They came every day while they were doing the roof and they checked on everything, and then they came last week and they'd gotten the final approval. The city didn't like something about the way it was attached or tied down or something, so they had to come back and redo certain parts, and they did that. And I know you've had work done by this company. You're very pleased with the work they did for you, Doris, over at Terrace, that roof company.
Yeah.
So anyway, now the roof is so flat, when it rains and rains and rains, it just comes in like both sides. So we have to have gutters and downspouts.
Did we have gutters before, Nancy?
There were not gutters, they were just drains.
So
It was the way the roof was pitched, or whatever. But this is a flat roof, so we need to have the gutters. So we had 2 different bids came in on that, and interestingly enough, I don't know what's George's last name. What's George's last name? George Halbert was here this summer because he's one of your residents over there. And he's in that business, and he said, I know all about this kind of stuff they should be using, and if they're not going to use the good stuff, I said, George, do me a favor, here's the 2 bids, call them and tell them and find out what they're using, see if it's what they should be using. So George was very kind, picked up the phone, called both companies, asked them what they were going to use, if it was good stuff, it was top of, he knows all about how you should do this, because that's the business, part of the business he was in. So as it turns out, he said, you can go with either company, the one for $2,200 or the one for $1,300, and he said, you're going to get the same stuff. So, you know, and the guy that, the gutters and drains, he's right around the corner here, been in business for like 17 years, so he's, you know, we could go knock on his door and say, hey.
I guess my question is when you did the roof, was gutters not an issue? Was it not included in the price of the roof?
It wasn't, we didn't have gutters, Barbara, there was no, we only had a couple of, we only had some
Who
drains.
designed this remodel of this building, and they couldn't foresee that we needed gutters until a year later?
The design of there's 2 entirely separate things. Let me just finish what I'm finishing. Okay. The next issue is the lights on the shuffleboard court. We'd like to, as you know, we have to put some new lights out there because the ones that are there are broken. We cannot get replacements for them. And Harold has been to at least 10 places looking for lights that would be adequate for out there. And he feels that we need to have some work done on the building, not work done, but the kind of lights that would look down from above on the building. And we can cut into existing electrical work that's out there when we put the lights that will provide adequate light for people to be on the shuffleboard court.
Floodlights, you mean?
It's also the cheapest way to go, yes, floodlighting. And it would also be the less expensive way to go.
So these are not repairable at all?
No, and we can't get the parts either.
You're going to get that locker done where they hold the tools?
Yes, and let me
That's
just tell you.
it's been that way for 2 years.
Let me explain. I had him on the phone, well, I left 2 messages for him, Mr. Russell Sisson. He's the man who did a very good job, and he cut this door for us when we had this refurbished. And he has purchased the marine wood for that cabinet. And he's a very nice gentleman, and he told me he purchased the wood, and he didn't ask me for a cent or us for a cent, but he became ill, and he was ill for a while. He's an older gentleman, very nice man, does excellent work. So I left a second message for him, and I said, okay, they're ready to tar, feather, and burn in oil. Would you please tell me if you're going to do this or not? I don't want to stick you with the, since I understand you got the marine wood, and I certainly believe you. Is Mr. Hawkins? Yes, he's not here tonight. Tuesday, he goes, no, let's see. Anyway, he's a very nice gentleman, and I like doing work with him before, and he'll take care of it for us, and I'm sure, and if
He's
not, he'll pull me
rebuilding a
back.
whole new thing out of marine wood?
Yes, the one that's out there, unless you want to put plastic out there.
Well, wouldn't that be easier to go buy something at Home Depot in plastic? How much does it cost for him to do it?
A couple of $100. Got the same as wood for a plastic thing outside.
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
What is the cost? Would you give the cost with each one of these?
I don't really know, I think it's about $200. It's not included on this, it's not on this.
What she found.
Finish.
And the lights, how much?
The lights that we priced, the lights, if we were going to get the lights, they would be approximately $1,600. If we do it, if it's done the other way, with the lights coming, like floodlights coming down, it would be less than that. About 1,000, Harold said. And he's been out in his car going different places too.
We don't even know what we're talking about here yet, and yet you've got all kinds of numbers plugged in here, right?
Excuse me, no, I know what I'm talking about, Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
So you're not asking us for the 1,600, you're asking us for 1,000.
That's what I mean.
I'm not positive that that's going to be, I'm giving ourselves the eventual.
You're bumping up all of these numbers.
It's also, it's also electrical, you have electricians coming in. And when an electrician comes in, he tells you one thing, he'll say, okay, well, that's going to cost probably about $4,000. Then you get somebody else. It's just like the guy with the gutters and shutters. One fellow wanted $1,300, the other guy wanted $2,200. So, at this point in time. Yeah, so the best estimate at this point in time for what we'd like to have done, what needs to be done, is something that it has to get done, is $18,000 for that. Now, would anybody have any questions?
What about the gazebo one? You didn't touch on that. You didn't touch on a couple.
Nancy, we got 7,000 so far.
Okay.
Okay,
hedge?
I have a
Yes.
question. Number 2, the hedge on 16th Avenue.
Yes.
Don't you include that in your landscape budget?
Thank you.
Thank
Not
you.
the cutting.
Maintenance,
Not the cutting.
Why?
No.
why not?
I know that it has to be cut several times a year,
Doing that to you.
and it's not included in your budget.
No.
It should be. This is
Should
not,
be.
it should
Another
be.
thing, number 2 up here, additional funds to repay River Shores.
Oh, yeah.
Months
That's a
ago,
biggie. We all
you
wanna
told
know
us it
about
was
that, yeah.
$7,000.
Right.
Now all of a sudden it's 11,500. What's going on?
Okay, well, we have a system, as you know, of forwarding money. It's called chargebacks, which we've had for a number of years. I don't know when exactly they were instituted. They had been here historically when I came on as president, and 2 or 3 years before that, the other boards have used them. Now, our accountants in the past 2 years have said to us there is nothing illegal about them. Every single cent is accounted for. For example, if a bill from Home Depot were to come in and there's $10 on it that was spent on, I don't know, detergents or insecticide or something that's used for the clubhouse, that $10 is charged to the clubhouse. But you don't write a separate check for $10 to Home Depot. It's included in the Home Depot bill. So it's copied and put with the thing, with everything else from the, for that month, for the
Why?
to the
Why don't you
chargeback.
have your own account?
But that's a different issue. That's a different issue.
Well, I'm
You
just trying to
borrowed
give you-
$7,000
you
from
should
River
have.
Shores, for what?
Trying to give you an idea of how the chargebacks occur.